Hey, and welcome back to CC Convos. Today I'll be giving you an update on my Monstera tie cuttings as well as a plant tour. A lot has changed since the last plant tour that I've done. I've gotten a couple of new plants and some of the plants I no longer have. First, let's start with my Monstera tie propagations, and I have a lot of videos and a folder with the videos related to this. So this just gave out a new leaf. It's a little bit messed up because my cats, they're obsessed with biting the tip of the plant off before the leaf unfurls. But as you can see, some of that variegation in there. This was one of the cuttings that I had cut off of my other plant that had root rot. And it has really great roots. Kind of hard to see in here, but I'll try and insert another video that shows more of the roots. This is the other cutting, and as you can see, there's a root on the right. This is the top cutting, so I don't know, maybe a new leaf is gonna come from here. Excuse all of this. This is from cats again. But it has gotten a little bit of browning here, and it's not because of root rot or anything, because the roots are looking amazing in here. And this one has a lot of variegation. But out of the two, I did originally 3 cuttings, and 2 of the 3 have rooted really well, and this one even has new growth. Now moving on to the regular Monstera. This was a cutting that I had. Excuse here again, that's cats. But this one rooted really well in water, and it has given a new leaf since it's been in water. And I was gonna maybe put it in leca or lechuzapon, but when I wanted to get the lechuzapon, it was actually sold out online. And so then I was like, well, maybe leca, but you have to have a lot of different fertilizing stuff with leca. And so I was like, I'll just put it in some soil, and done some research, and I wanted to keep it more root bound so that I hopefully prevent root rot like I had trouble with before. This is a new plant that I just bought. This is a Hoya, speckled Hoya, and I think maybe in about another week, if the soil is not dry, because I've had it for a week now, I'm gonna need to add some perlite. Something to make the soil a little chunkier. But I don't know. Is that gonna be a peduncle or what is that? This one was very pretty. Here's the ZZ plant, and it has a ton of new growth coming in. I'm gonna need to repot this one soon because the roots are starting to come out of the bottom. This was a little spider plant baby that I got, and it is starting to root. Let me see if I can show you. See that little root? My Adansonii cuttings are popping out new leaves. And these struggled for a little while with thrips, and then my cats kept eating the tips of the new growth, so I have to keep them up on this bookshelf now. As you can see, this bottom leaf is one that I had to cut because it got bit up. But here's a new leaf, so they're looking pretty good. Another new plant is this pothos, and I've hung it in this hanging basket, and it's doing really well. These are some new leaves that have popped out. There's one about to pop out. This plant is huge and lush, and I've had it for a few weeks now, and it's doing great. I've had this rubber tree for a while, and it's been giving new leaves. This is the newest one that just came out. This is a newer rubber tree, and this one looks very sad because one of my cats bites this and slaps it for just attention. So this one is just messed up from the cats. But since I've had it, it's given this new leaf that, of course, the top has gotten bit off. But it looks like a new leaf might come out of here. So it's still doing all right. This is a new plant that I got, and I follow a houseplant group on Facebook, and a lot of people were saying that they were seeing Monstera ties at Kroger or HEB. So I had just gone to my HEB for like regular groceries, and I saw some there, and this was one of them that was there. Like, look how beautiful this is. This is the newest leaf, and it's actually pretty big. Beautiful variegation. The roots were looking really great. And it was only $39.99. I'll include some footage of them at the stores. I have some from the HEB, and I also saw some at Kroger. And I just repotted it this week because it was in this like thick peat soil, and the roots were so root bound that I couldn't get all of the original soil out. So I decided to just like mix in some perlite and some chunkier things like orchid bark to the soil and a little sphagnum moss. And you can see here's some new roots growing. The leaves are, here's some more. The leaves are very perky and look happy. This year has had a lot of change, and it was a very like experimental year for my houseplants. I ended up getting another cat, so that's been a lot with two. And I've learned a lot. So I got a Monstera tie, but I've had a lot of issues with it. But I've learned a lot about my Monsteras this year, and honestly, the biggest tips that I can give you would be that they like to be root bound. So even if you have a huge leaf, keep it in a tight pot around its roots and just use some external support to keep it up. I've also learned a lot about propagating them. So for the tie, I did not think it was going to work just to cut it up into a bunch of different pieces and put it in some water. But after a while, it worked, and I learned a lot about sphagnum moss, and I actually really like it. It's been great for propagating, so I don't even know what I'm gonna do with this one, but maybe I'll keep it in some sort of sphagnum moss soil and give it a fertilizer. But I don't know a lot about fertilizers, so I really need some help with that and to do some more research. It's a lot to have plants with cats, especially two young cats that are curious. Like, they are pretty good for the most part. The two things that they love is that dark rubber tree, this one in particular. She is so attention seeking. She likes to play all the time. So she'll just like slap the plant or like go, like she's gonna bite it just for you to pay attention to her. So now she does better. I ignore it and I try to redirect the behavior, but that plant has a bunch of bites. And there's this new obsession where all of the new leaves, when they're still like wrapped together, they like to bite the top of it. But then once it unravels, they don't mess with it. So it just makes all the new leaves so ugly though, because the tip of them are all broken off. For a while, I was very obsessed with my plants having to be perfect, and if I had any sort of pest or any sort of imperfection on the leaves, I would get so upset. But I think this year, with just a lot of things not going as planned and having external forces like the cats messing them up, has taught me a lot of just to enjoy the hobby, not worry about perfection, and to learn. So if a plant isn't doing well, you can cut it up, propagate it, learn different methods. And so it's been a lot more fun for me to enjoy this hobby this year. Thank you for watching, and I'll keep you updated as the plants grow and as I change things and learn new things. But if you like this video, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in my next one.